MSNBC tries to snow you with these charts on the economy, on AI. Welcome to John Mike Keene. This is where we hang out and we correct MSNBC as they try to snow you even on the data.
And then finally, of course, Trump thinks the S&P is one of the best measures of success of a president. He watches it so closely. But in fact, interestingly enough, the S&P was up by almost identical amounts under Biden and Trump, 56%. So they both turned out to be great stock market presidents.
Yeah, and as we have said so often on the show, the strong economy that Donald Trump inherited, and now from Barack Obama, and now he's doing it again from Joe Biden, who did oversee a lot of growth.
They always say that Trump inherits a strong economy twice, once from Obama, once from Biden, but they never said that Biden inherited a strong economy from Trump. And another thing that's important to point out is that little red dip is COVID, which harmed Trump, and then he returned the country to profitability, which was amazing on his watch. And all of Biden's numbers always get adjusted down. They're inflated by a Democrat Fed.
So, Steve, let's turn to your second chart where you highlight how the border and climate change were major issues in the year that was.
Yes, that's exactly right, of course, Jonathan. The border was not Biden's finest moment, frankly.
How about it's the singular reason, the border was the singular reason that Joe Biden lost the election. If there's any clear distinction between Joe Biden and Donald Trump, it's that Joe Biden opened up the border and they took a risk. They were hoping it would influence the election to their favor, and it totally backfired on them. Ended up handing Trump an election, saying that what wasn't his strongest moment, it was his primary defining characteristic, was a betrayal of America.
You can see what happened here. And Trump is not wrong when he talks about how border crossings were quite low. They were running about 74,000 a month when he left office. And they, in fact, did shoot up. Some of it was some things Biden said and some ways that they put a moratorium, for example, on deportations.
A moratorium on deportations. That's a fancy way of saying they stopped deporting anyone and kept everyone here. That is insane. That means you do not have a border. And if you don't have a border, you don't have a country.
But in fact, we did get up here almost to 300,000 a month. But what maybe people don't entirely know is that border crossings have come back down almost to where they were under Trump. They're running at about 100,000 at the moment.
That's one thing, is everyone who wanted to come over pretty much came over. There would be more, but the biggest influx got the green light from the Biden administration and came here. And then as soon as Trump wins the election, they drop off because the word got out to people in all countries that it's not going to work anymore. So this is already the largest benefit to America. The largest correction on the Biden administration is that open border. And now the word gets out. Many people will self-deport, but we're going to start deportations back up again.
So we went up the hill and we went down the hill, but unfortunately that was pretty costly to Biden during the election.
This is the good news about America, is that because we're a self-correcting country through our elections, you can only make a mistake that big for 4 years. And he was rightly ousted out of office. And then Kamala Harris, as you remember, would not distance herself from his policies. She really might have had a shot if she came down and seriously condemned Biden, but that wasn't going to happen because they thought the media, including MSNBC right here, would cover for them and help pull Kamala Harris over the finish line. It wouldn't work because all of the media propaganda failed. It no longer had power. It no longer worked, and the American people were allowed to get the free flow of information from places like X/Twitter and even shows like this that kept calling out what was going wrong, and the people responded.
Climate should have been a more important issue in people's minds. I wish it were, because the numbers are really frightening. You can see that at 2023, 2024, these are all the years of climate going back all the way to 1850.
The reason why they only go back to 1850, and it wasn't because they were obsessed with climate back in 1850 that they started looking at it, it's that the numbers spike way up right before 1850 during the Industrial Revolution or earlier. And you had unchecked, for some reason, weather changes. The Earth was just flat out running warmer back then. So they make sure that they find their very best metric of when the Earth was relatively cool to make all their measurements to scare you into this hysteria. The bottom line is, I'm going to say this over and over again, weather changes. The Earth has been much warmer than it is now.
And this is and they're color coded. So these are the earlier periods, and it literally follows a consistent time frame. And then it takes this huge jump. 2024 actually was the warmest year in history, and but both 2024 so far above anything we'd seen previously, and this really needs to be a major issue going forward.
The actual line that he shows 2023 being warmer than 2024. Our trajectory is just warmer in general, but if he's afraid of all the climate policy, remember our climate policy has gone through the roof compared to what it was in 2020, 2015, 1980. And yet the numbers do not go down. We have failed to change the Earth's temperature, and it's not now their claim is going to be because we don't do enough, that we have not completely ruined our economy to try to save it. There's no proof that we can change the Earth's temperature by changing our business practices. If we did change our business practices so radical to change the Earth's temperature, say by 1 degree, 2 degrees, the economic fallout and the disaster, especially of the poor in the world, would be outrageous. And of course, the largest influencer on public pollution is China. And we will not lock them down. We can't do enough to them because China has no incentive to participate in ruining their economy when they're on the rise.
Steve, what about AI usage? It boomed last year. I feel like I'm hearing about ChatGPT everywhere I go.
It's a new technology that has been adopted at a faster rate than any technology that we know about the adoption rate for. But when you look at recent technological innovations like the internet, like usage of computers, AI is outstripping them. 40% of Americans have used AI or are using AI now.
Don't fear AI. AI is just a technology that does human computing better, faster. It allows all of us to participate. We're all using AI already. In case you don't know, if you've ever gotten directions on your phone to go anywhere, that's using an artificial intelligence to guide you.
The stock market, for different reasons, is also an optimist. These are the 7 stocks, they call them the Magnificent Seven, that drove a lot of that stock market performance in the past year that I referred to. NVIDIA, the chip designer, up 179%. And then other big beneficiaries, Meta, also known as Facebook, Amazon, Google, and so forth. And then we'll get to Tesla. And the S&P as a whole was up 27% last year. These stocks as a group were up 70%. Tesla is interesting for a different reason because you can see it really didn't do much at all during the year, and then it shot up after the election. Elon Musk has been a huge beneficiary of Trump's win. The value of all of his holdings have gone up by $200 billion, and Tesla being one of the most recent to shoot up like that.
Tesla only went up, he's saying, like it's because of the election that Elon Musk got these favors. That is not true. That is, Trump has not taken office and gave Elon Musk any kind of a benefit. What happened was all of the public knew that Elon Musk was being hunted by bureaucracies, by Democrats. He was probably going to go to jail if Trump didn't win the election. When Trump won the election, then the true value of Tesla was allowed to be purchased, and it shot straight up. He has a legit company. It is wrong to attribute all this just to being Trump's buddy. That has nothing to do with it. That is complete fake news. I'm John Mike Keene. Thanks for watching.